I just know it. I can't explain it. It is not rational in that sense. It is not irrational. It's non-rational. It's an experiential thing. Assalamu alaikum. Got a question through Facebook, and once again, Facebook link in the description box. If you guys have any questions or topics you'd like to hear some commentary about, or a short commentary about, please go there and send me a message, and inshallah we'll get back to you sooner than later. This message comes from a sister who wanted to remain anonymous, so we will honor that wish of hers. And let's see, it's a lengthy message. I'm just going to choose the part which I think is more pertinent for this. Given my limited mind and understanding of how the world works, how can I be 100% certain of Islam and the truth of our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? There are things I tell myself to reaffirm my faith, like the miracles of the Quran, the miraculous accounts of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But then, how can I be so sure that there isn't some other explanation out there that humans are not able to comprehend? I hope that makes sense. I wonder, how can we be so absolutely sure? Despite this, I still do have faith, but I feel that stems from more from my emotions than my intellect. I believe and have hope that what I believe is the truth, but there's always that tiny bit in me that wonders, what if I'm wrong? I wonder if I'm inclined to see Islam as the truth because of wishful thinking, cognitive dissonance, and confirmation bias. If we admit our incapacity to fully make sense of the world, how can we gain absolute conviction of the truth of Islam? How do I strengthen my yaqeen and become intellectually convinced of this deen? It's a very good question. I almost said your name. You know what? This question reminds me of something that Imam al-Ghazali talked about. Imam al-Ghazali wrote a text, Al-Munqidh min al-Dalal, Deliverance from Error, which now I'm thinking I might do as the next episode of the reading chair. In it, he actually talks about exactly what you talked about, which is, how do I make sure? Because Imam al-Ghazali went further. He just looked at, like, well, the environmental context that we have. I mean, I reflect and I see that a children who is born to Jewish parents becomes a Jew, to Magian parents becomes a Magian, to Christian parents becomes a Christian. So it seems like it's just accident of birth that makes somebody follow whichever tradition they're in. How do I trust my senses? If a feverish man, the example he uses is, if when I'm feverish, things feel cold. So my own body, my own senses could be deluding me. How do I trust these things? And he actually went into skepticism that was quite deep, and it troubled him and it made him ill physically because he just wanted to gain that certainty. But then he comes up with the very essence of himself, that I'm questioning these things. I'm being skeptical about these things, yet I'm certain of myself that I'm doing the questioning. That there is a primary takeoff point, which is my power to reason through things. I mean, a lot of the things that you hear about in cosmology and all of these discoveries and Einstein and string theory and all of, like, whenever you hear theoretical physicists talk about these things, they're not actually speaking as empiricists, as much as some of them would like to pretend that they are. A lot of their discoveries are based on pure reason. It's mathematics. They make predictions and then they go and test them empirically. Yes, that's true. But the guiding force behind all of this stuff is the human mind. It's the intellect. It's the power to have pure reason. It's the idea that you have certain initial assumptions that are based on pure reason, that they're necessarily true. Like the necessary, the possible, and the impossible from a pure reason perspective. I actually did a series. I don't know if you got to listen to it, but I recorded, I taught previously Aqidatul Najat, the Creed of Deliverance, which is by Sayyid Muhammad ibn Ja'far al-Kattani. It's a simple text on Aqidah, on theology, Islamic theology, where I cover a lot of the stuff. And so I'm gonna put it somewhere, either here or here. I'm not sure how YouTube does this, but I'm going to put the link for it so that you can go check that out and listen to the series. It's like 9-part series or 10-part series, I think. And it's on a playlist, so you can go through that. But the idea that Imam al-Ghazali comes with is look at how, and I'm just going to finish with this so that we're not too long. Look at how people have different openings, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them different openings in life, that He closed off for other people. An example of that for us is, look at your physician. Let's say that you're not a doctor, you never went to medical school, your mind is not inclined that way. Let's say that your mind is inclined more towards engineering, or inclined more towards arts, or inclined towards whatever it is that it's inclined towards, history, any of the other subjects. But your mind is not inclined towards medicine. Now you go to the doctor when you're ill, and the doctor can explain to you, can simplify for you what it is that is going on in simple terms, but they never tell you the whole story. They never get into the details. And then they tell you, do this medicine, or we need to do this surgery, or whatever, or do these things, and once you do them, you will feel better. Now, for us, we're not physicians, so we just, as long as we understand what we need to do, we do it, and then we feel better. And we get better and we get well. Once we get well, our belief in the physician's abilities is not based on intellectual, that I got it, because my mind is not inclined that way. My belief is experiential, that I've experienced this physician treating me and it worked out, and I trust that I have all of these kind of ancillary, like auxiliary things, that when I go to his office or her office, I see degrees, I see fellowship kind of certifications, I see license from the College of Physicians, I see all of these things that tell me that there's a body of people behind this person that say this person is qualified to speak about medicine, to treat people, to, you know, prescribe medications and things like that. And then I follow their advice and I experience the change in myself. Now I have certainty that this person knows what they're talking about, even though I don't have direct access to the field that they have. You see that also with engineers and with artists. And I mean, I'm not an artist, but when I listen to artists talk and their access to a particular realm of human endeavors, I find it fascinating. And they point out things that I'm not able to catch on, but then once they go through the whole thing, I know that it's brilliant. It moves me in such a way that's experiential. Art is an experiential thing, for example. So Imam al-Ghazali says, well, prophethood, messengership, the fact that we have messengers, prophets, these people are people that were granted access to the ghaib, to the unseen realm. The Prophet ﷺ was granted access to a realm that we don't have access to. Now when he tells you, do these things and follow these things, and they will result in a transformation in your life right now, and then you will see the ultimate consequence of it also in the next world. But you will definitely see a consequence of it now. To give you an example, my grandma, may Allah have mercy on her soul, she was an unlettered woman. But I wish to have the type of belief and certainty that she had. I could talk about theology and philosophy and all of the intellectual things that relate to Islam. But her certainty in Islam, I guarantee you, just from observing her when I was young and just seeing how she was and how she led her life, and she was somebody who was poor, didn't have a lot of resources in Sudan, like just, I mean, I still wish I could go back now and just, I'd rather live her life, to be honest. From an intellectual perspective, it's a lot more at peace. And she had more certainty about things that I fail to find in a lot of people who are so-called intellectually convinced with Islam. The reason for that is because she did Islam. She lived Islam. It wasn't an intellectual thing for her in that way. The intellect followed after it experienced these things. Just like your intellect follows with your doctor who happens to be a really great doctor and who treated you for something. So I hope that answers your question. What you need to do when it comes to Islam, yes, go and seek out the intellectual stuff if you want to learn some things and understand some things. But you already recognized in your message that you said, my mind is limited. The human mind generally is limited. We don't have access to everything. We don't know everything, that's true. We don't know everything. And it's good that you recognize that. So what do you need to do? Well, your spiritual physician is the beloved sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Al-Habib sallallahu alaihi wasallam told you, pray your 5 daily prayers, Fast your month of Ramadan. Do your Hajj. Do your charity. Smile in the face of others. The best of people, the most beloved of people to Allah is the one who's most beneficial to people. And when you do these things, you will notice a transformation in your personal relationships, your general relationships with people, your spiritual relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then you will find yourself that you will get to a point where the intellectual stuff just follows through and you're like, I just know it. I can't explain it. It is not rational in that sense. It is not irrational. It's non-rational. It's an experiential thing. And that's why Imam al-Ghazali said that when he looked at all the different groups, he said that people of tasawwuf, ashabu ahwal wa laysu ashabu aqwal. They are people of stations, of states. They're not people of statements. I can talk a lot, but unless you experience it, you're not going to believe it. I hope that answers your question. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum. So, now you've seen some of the videos. I'm going to be trying to post these scattered thoughts, I'm actually going to call it, because they're just scattered thoughts, as often as possible. I'm trying to go for a minimum of 4 times a week, but I'm trying to build this platform on YouTube. So I'm hoping that if you enjoy this content, that you would subscribe, like, comment below, and share this video, and tell your mommy, tell your daddy, tell your pops, tell your grandpa, tell your grandma, tell everybody. If there is any benefit that can be derived from these, I would really appreciate it if you can spread it.